Another guest writer? I'm sure he's pissed since this was written so long ago, but I have very little concept of time. Brandon Kellogg, you are up, and it's time to recall an arcade or two. You think you can do what I do? You think you can do what I do? He thinks he can do what I do! Take it away, Brandon. I'm sure by now you all know my love of fighting games in the 1990s. Primal Rage is no different. Let's get the checklist out, shall we? Rejected Godzilla monsters, check. Scantily clad cave women, check. Scantily clad cavemen, check. Blood and gore, check. See? This game is everything. I know what you're thinking. It's just another Mortal Kombat clone, and you would be right, but what sets it apart from games like Survival Arts is that it's actually alright. Released in 1994 by Atari Games, yes, that Atari, this particular subdivision of Atari focused on arcade games, and made games like Paperboy and Marble Madness. I would put more down, but the rest are pretty obscure. This game actually had merchandise tie-ins. There were unusual toys with standard kung fu grip action. There were also comic books. And I can't think of many other arcade games that spawned comics other than the ones that were based off comic books. There was even a book, which is weird to say the least. I mean, why read a novelization about a game you would probably much rather be playing? Maybe it's just so it can show kids that reading is cool. Nice try, guys. But it still isn't. When you're a kid and you see dinosaurs fighting, what do you think? Do you think a post-apocalyptic world? Of course you do! A meteor strikes Earth, killing most of the humans. The humans that are left regress through caveman status and rename Earth Urth. I guess leaving out letters was the hip thing to do in the 90s, and it was. Horrible renaming aside, giant beasts come out of the ground and fight each other. Some fight for the surviving humans, and some fight because they want to rule Earth. And no, I'm not gonna say Urth. You know how fighting games go. Pick your favorite dino and travel around the map fighting every other beast. This time, the map is a Pangea-like continent in the shape of a T-Rex skull. Huh. Is this in the same universe as the Cap Attack? Let me just break with Brandon's writing here, because he asks if I get that reference, and I totally do. It is a game for the Sony Genesis, of course. Every now and then, you run into a situation where a meteor strikes your planet, many of your species die, you regress through cavemen, and Godzilla monsters come out of the ground to fight each other. You have no other choice but to worship one of them as your god. Survive it. I'm gonna deduct a point for that. Brandon doesn't quite know how to use my running gags correctly. For 1994, the graphics looked good. The models looked pretty great with great colors. The colors in general are vibrant, and the backgrounds are interesting. It looks very much like a prehistoric world, except that it isn't. It's a future post-apocalyptic prehistoric world. Now that makes sense, right? There are a few versions of the arcade game, and I never found much on them, so I can't talk much about them. There was the previously mentioned special move difference, but other than that, there wasn't much. There's version 1.7 that didn't have fatality, special moves, or sound. How did I play this game? Well, I was 14 when this came out, and it was common practice for kids to jump on a freight train to get one state over for an arcade or two. One day, a friendly hobo asked if I heard of Primal Rage, and I said yes, it's that arcade game with the dinosaurs. Well, at this point he corrected me and proceeded to... which resulted in me walking to a thrift store naked. I'm just kidding, I never played this game or remember if I did. Brendan just wanted me to relate a personal story to this, so I, Mike, improvised one. The episode would have run short otherwise. As for home versions, we had it on PlayStation 1, 3DO, Atari Jaguar CD, Sega Genesis 32X, Sega Saturn, Amiga, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Gear, and PC. Does this game deserve a quarter? Like any other Mortal Kombat clone, it leaves you wanting to play the real thing, or any other awesome fighter. But if you really want to beat down on some monsters with some other monsters, killing them with farts or vomit, then this game definitely deserves a few quarters. Arcade games not from the present or future, let's keep remembering them. I've been saying it since day one and no one can get it right when I have a guest writer. It goes something like this. Interactive video machines from before now, all of us should keep them truckin'. Arcade Pass, let's make it last. Another episode has ended, and my thanks to all 3 of you fans that I have, and here's some older episodes so you can catch up on and see why Brandon was deducted points for using one of my ongoing gags incorrectly. Also, here's a link to Brandon's YouTube page. Like, comment, and subscribe otherwise. Also, if you haven't noticed, I allow other writers to take over a show with me editing. Show me what you got. There's no way I've played every arcade game ever. I only tried to in my youth. But you all have a wonderful existence.